and it's streaming live on YouTube. We have our meeting rules, ground rules for the meeting, and then it always stand out, and it's always been there. If you want to come into our class on Zoom, please make sure you have your video on, okay? And if you can't have your video on for whatever reason, we do understand, but so we are not distracted and we are not taking off the track, we encourage you as much as possible to please join the YouTube class. If you join the YouTube classes and you have any questions, you can type in your questions, and when I come back on there, I'll find them and answer them. We may be lucky that sometimes in the process of the class, as the class is ongoing, we have a look at what's going on YouTube, and we're able to answer it while you're still there, though not all the time. So, welcome. How are we doing? How is everybody doing? I'm actually excited. Yeah. How is everyone doing? Chigozie Assumpta, I replied your mail. Did you see it? At this junction, if there's anybody that has sent in any work from August, September, October, and November up until this afternoon, or up until yesterday evening rather, I have responded to all of them. Okay, I said it that if you need to have your work vetted, please don't send me a PDF document, because I will have to open this PDF document, save them somewhere on my computer before I'm able to read and vet them. If you send it as a typed mail, it's easier for me. I can respond. Okay, while I'm responding, I can actually see the mistakes or the corrections that I want you to take, and I can comment on them. But if you send it as a document, as a PDF document, I will have to go shuttle between here and there. And sometimes these things get lost in the midst of my other documents on the system. So please save yourself that delay and save me that waste of time as well and all of that stress. Send in your work as a typed work in a mail sent to overseernurses@ielts@gmail.com. Stop using my personal mail. I will not respond. If you come into my personal space on WhatsApp with your work without asking you to do so, I will not respond. So please, let's make life easier for ourselves, okay? Remember that one of our major ground rule in this class is to have your video on once you are here. If you did register, you must have seen that instruction. We are not so good with instructions, and I don't want to be taking people out of the class, but sometimes you guys leave me with no choice, and I will take you out of my class if you don't have your video on and you're here. I'll take you out. If you come in and you still don't have your video on, I will block you from the class. So please, I beg you to put your video on. Vivian Uzoma, if you can't have your video on for whatever reason, I do understand that. Sometimes we're at work, we are busy somewhere, we just want to participate, just want to listen to the class. It's fine. Join the class on YouTube so that you can benefit, even though, you have to multitask. So once again, my name is Joy Agagwu. I'm a registered nurse, registered midwife in Nigeria. I am a registered nurse in the United Kingdom. I am not just talking IELTS. I have passed the academic UKVI IELTS. By God's grace, I was able to pass the exam once, at one sitting, and I have studied IELTS to some extent. I have done some certificate courses as well in IELTS, so I can teach IELTS online with the University of Cambridge. And yes, it's not about stories. What you hear here is real. And if you want to do yourself good, hearing from there, here and there, compare what you hear, and then sieve your understanding so you can have a go at your IELTS exam and pass. There was an exercise last week in this class, and I still want to appreciate Amaka and Ibrahim for participating and for benefiting. Amaka, thank you very much. Thank you for your sacrifice. I pray that the Lord will grant you success in this exam and you won't have to write twice in Jesus' name. So I will be having a session with you after this class, if you don't mind. And then I think we will need to talk where we can exchange numbers like I said I will with you, and I can drill you on your speaking by tomorrow, God's willing. I'm still on the night shift today and I'll round up as quick as I can. I was going to say something. What's that? When you talk too much, you forget so many things, you know. So yes, thank you for joining the class. I'm seeing some new phrases. Ugochi, I've not seen you in this class before. Welcome to our class. Welcome to our class.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Today is going to be about reading, almighty reading that we did last week. And I was thinking that some of us will surprise me, surprise me. Yeah? Good news. One of us, a very constant member in this class, has passed her IELTS 2 days ago. I don't want to call her name. She will share her testimony and then you can see. Actually, there are two people that passed IELTS, but the other person was following on YouTube, so you may not know her. One of us in this class, very constant, always asking questions, and I like, you have not done my work. Ma, please, can you do this? Ma, please, can you do that? Today, she has passed her IELTS, and her journey has started. I told you people, IELTS is the hardest step in the processing to work in the United Kingdom. Your relocation journey starts with IELTS, and once you are able to pass IELTS, I tell you the truth, in 6 months time, if you pass your IELTS today, I can guarantee you that all things being equal, you will be in the UK. That's the truth. So IELTS, why? Almighty IELTS, why are you suffering people like this? One of my students passed after 4 attempts. This is the 5th attempt and she was able to pass. This person wrote once, the other lady that is constantly here, and she has passed. So you too, you can pass. Stop postponing, stop attending classes and not taking any step. Vera, Vivian, I'm going to block you from this class. If you come back again without putting on your video, I will block you. So, reading, the academic reading. The academic reading, IELTS academic reading is what you are expected to do, okay, as a nurse coming to the United Kingdom. And it's 40 questions for you to answer in 60 minutes, which means you have 1 minute, 30 seconds for each question. And this includes your time for, like rechecking your work. So today we're going to be discussing about tips, the test types, the kind of questions that you will see in your IELTS reading task. There are different types of questions that you will find out. And also you will see the tips for passing this IELTS academic reading task. You are expected as a nurse not to score below 7.0. I've seen someone who scored 8.5. I've seen someone with an 8, and I know someone with the 7.5. So it's not impossible, all right, for you to score that high. For you to understand this, we will see the various types of tests, and then we will talk about the various tips. So all in all, it is made up of 40 questions to be answered in 60 minutes. And remember that here, there's no time for you to transfer your work like in listening. In listening test, you're asked to write on your question paper, yeah? Select your answers. Then they give you 10 minutes to transfer your work from that to the answer sheet. Now, in reading, there's nothing like that. Nobody gives you extra time. So you need to write in your answer sheet as you go along. In your reading as well, you need to maximize time as much as possible. Adhering strictly to instruction is one of the things that will help you in reading. In all, we have about 2,000 to 2,750 words in your reading passage, that's the reading text. In the course of this class, you hear me use text, passage, comprehension, all as per the reading passages, okay? All these topics, the reading passages, the text, they are drawn from very familiar topics. But if by any means or if by whatever means they use words that are unfamiliar, you will find a glossary that will give you direction as to what those words mean and the context in which they are using them so that you're guided. There are various kind of questions that you will find in the reading text, and we're going to be discussing them one after the other. We may not finish all of them in this class today, but I'll be telling you what these questions mean, how to tackle them, the common problems that we have with this kind of questions, and then the tips and strategies for you to be successful when you see these question types. Now, for both academic and general reading tests, all of these are the same. For nurses relocating to the United Kingdom, what you need is the academic test. For some professionals, they may use like lab scientists and the rest of them. I heard that they require either of them, so which is easier, then they can write. But as nurses, if you're coming to the United Kingdom, anywhere in the United Kingdom, it is academic IELTS that you are expected to write. If you're going to Canada or to the US, you may have to write the general IELTS exam and then maybe NCLEX for them and the rest of them. I really don't know much about the processes for other countries except for the United Kingdom. So yes, we have first on our list today is the multiple choice question. Multiple choice question, what we call MCQ. What we call MCQ is the type of question where you are asked to choose from options that you're given. Usually there are three of them, three types of multiple choice question. We have where you will be given 4 options to choose one from, or 5 options for you to choose 2, or 6 options to choose 3 from, or 2. The most common type of question that you will find for the MCQ is the 4 options to choose 1. You may also have other types, but the most common one is 4 options to choose 1. Generally, the MCQs test your ability to understand the main ideas, okay, that is contained in a text, and then for you to look for specific information. Here, you will need to quickly identify the main idea in order for you to locate the correct section of the text. When you do this, you will find out that you are usually able to eliminate 2 options that are totally wrong, and then you're left with 2 options. One is correct and the other is not correct, but they are usually very close to each other. So you'll be left with 50-50. At this point, I'd like to advise you that if for any reason you are doing an MCQ question and you have been able to eliminate 2 options, but the remaining 2 you don't know exactly what the option is, I'd like to encourage you to choose one of the 2 because you stand a 50% chance of getting the correct answer. So please do not leave any blank space in your exams, okay? Don't leave any blank spaces. This is because IELTS is not a negative marking kind of exam. You know, when you're about to write your nursing council exams, you start hearing different kind of advice. People tell you different things. Some will say nursing council will reduce your mark. They will do this. They will add the one you failed and subtract it from the one that you passed. That's not true. IELTS is not like that. It's not negative marking. And I don't think that there's any exam actually presently where they do that. If they do, I don't know. So you'll be able to look to eliminate 2. You'll be left with 2. At this point, select one of them. If you are confused, how do you do it? Bring the 2 options very close to the question. Check why one of them is correct and why the other is wrong. When you finally get your right answer, check again, read the options again, read the question again to see why the other option is actually wrong and why this one is correct. So you need to check and recheck again. That's how you are able to pass. Now, there are common questions, common problems, okay, that candidates face when they are solving the multiple choice questions. One of them is the fact that we read the text before we read the questions. It's instinct. Once you see your question, you see your papers, your mind, your instinct to tell you, oh yeah, start reading. And then you start reading the passage. At the end of the day, you finished reading the passage, you have enjoyed the story, or you have confused yourself, because sometimes some of these stories are very boring. They are not interesting at all. So you have read a very boring story and then you've confused yourself because you're going to have to read it again. I keep giving an example of a box of chocolates where you will have Bunny, you have Bounty, you have Twix, you have maybe Milky, you have different types of chocolates in one box. And then the questions you'll be asking, they will be asking you is to select some particular types of chocolates. But as soon as you see this chocolate box, you open it and you start looking, you check the name, oh, Bounty, oh, Twix, oh, Milky, oh, I've got, what else? What do we call them again? Snickers and the rest of them. And you are reading all the names. Meanwhile, you have not read the answer. You have not read the question. How do you know whether you are to identify Bounty or Milky or Twix or Snickers? So what you should do here is for you to go to the questions first of all. When you locate the question, you will locate the answer. So when you see the question, for instance, they say look for Twix. The next thing is your eye is in that box, you turn it upside, and then you find your Twix and you take your answer or you drop it aside. So please, as much as possible, avoid reading the text first. Read the question. When you read this question, what happens is you are reading with light, you are reading with direction, you are reading with a focus. But when you read the text first, you are reading blindly because you are not sure what you're looking for. You also waste time because you will have to read the questions again and then read the answer again. So you have just wasted your time doing the first reading in the first place. Okay? Number 2 common question is the fact that we do not answer questions. This is a very obvious one. But you will see that many people, they jump the questions. I've told us from the beginning, do not leave any blank spaces in your IELTS exam. Another problem that we candidates face is the fact that we are easily tricked by the examiners. We are easily tricked by the examiners. Please don't let the examiners fool you. IELTS exam, it's mostly common sense. IELTS exam, whether you're reading, you're writing, you're speaking, or you're listening, you should be on the lookout for what we call synonyms and paraphrases. This is because in the general term, when you come into the United Kingdom, either as a student or as a nurse or as a health worker, they're expecting you to be able to express yourself in different language using your own vocabularies. So if you don't have the vocabularies for these words, you won't be able to interact, you won't be able to communicate with your colleagues, with the multidisciplinary team, with your patients, with their relatives. When they have written headache, what are you expected to explain to the patient's relatives? Will you be using the word headache, headache, headache? What happens to pain in the head? So you need to know synonyms. You need to know paraphrases. This is what you should be looking for in your IELTS exam. When you are speaking, your examiner is expecting you to use these words, paraphrasing them, using these synonyms to make your vocabulary rich. Remember that we have the band descriptors in our writing, in our speaking as well. These band descriptors, you are expected to show your examiner in writing and speaking. And then in reading and in listening, you are expected to look out for them. So for your vocabularies, You need to be on the lookout for synonyms. You need to be on the lookout for paraphrases. When you see words that are word for word, the exact same word from the passage, except when you are asked to use the exact same word from the passage, if you have not been asked, please avoid them, run away from them. Because when your examiners speak those words in the answers, okay, they are trying to trick you into using them. But there is always an adjective, a qualifying word, something, maybe a but, maybe a however, maybe an and that has made it impossible for you to use it because it is the incorrect option. So what do? Be on the lookout for synonyms. Be on the lookout for paraphrases. Don't wait or don't look for exact same word. Because in Cambridge, what Cambridge English do is that they pick a word from a particular passage and they use different words to explain them. At the end of the day, if you are looking for those words in your passage, for them to appear in your answer, you will get the wrong answers. Is that okay? Another thing that makes students to fail, that makes candidates to have issues with scoring their desired band, is the fact that many people do not read the whole sentence. I know that in part of the exam types, the question types, I will explain further. There's some specific ones where we will encourage you to read line 1 and 2, okay, first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences, because they usually carry the main ideas, okay? But in a multiple test question, a multiple choice question, please read all of the passage. Read everything. Read everything. Okay, read the whole sentence. Do not pick one from here and pick one from there and join them together. Don't do cut and nail, cut and nail carpenter, because at the end of the day, you have so many rough edges. And when you have so many rough edges, you won't be able to score your band that you need. Is that okay? Another problem or common issue is that we don't read carefully. Because you are in haste, you are running out of time. And the truth is you're actually running out of time. But when you see your MCQs, please take your time to read the text very carefully. There are so many distractors, I know. Some of them are the correct answers. They jump out at you. As soon as you're reading, you find the correct answer. Don't say Nurse Joy said when you quickly see the answer that it is wrong. No, sometimes they do appear that way. And because this test is unpredictable, you need to use all the tactics that you've got so that you can pass the exams once and for all. So when these answers seem to jump at you, have a look at it again. Check to make sure that they are correct before you choose them. Having said all of this, what are your tips? Number 1, read the questions before you read the text. Okay? Read the questions before you read the text. When you read the questions before you read the text, you're reading with direction, you're reading with focus, you're reading as per your goal oriented. You're looking for something, okay? And you easily find it when you know what you're looking for. When you don't know what you're looking for, you make mistakes. So you don't have to read the text first of all, read the questions first. Number 2 tip is that you should make sure you answer all the questions. Do not leave any blank space. When you are eliminated 2 options and you're not still sure of the answer to choose, please choose one of them, because you stand a 50% chance of getting the answer correct. And I'm sure you will want to take that option. Don't allow yourself to be tricked. Do not be tricked by the examiner's distractors, especially when the keywords are from the main text. Don't let them fool you, okay? When you're reading a text and you don't know anything about that text, please don't worry. It's just a reading text. It's not a test of your knowledge on that topic. It's a test of your reading ability. I don't know if you understand. Secondly, ignore anything that you already know previously about that topic. When, for instance, you come to the IELTS hall and the exam hall and you find them writing about the British history, you actually know nothing or little about the British history. Don't panic, just do the reading test. Read and you will pass. Secondly, on the other hand, if you come to the hall and you find out that they are talking about the Nigerian history and they are mentioning who rode the first car, the first nurse in Nigeria, the woman that did this and that, and they forgot to mention Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, please don't go and write Ransom Kuti anywhere there because you know it very well. You need to forget about your previous knowledge, okay? Forget about your previous knowledge of this topic because what they want you to do is what they're asking you. If they wanted you to do something else, they would have asked you that something else question. So please don't go and do over sabi and answer questions that you are not asked. At the end of the day, they will tell you who asked you and they will fail you. Okay? Another tip that I want you to make use of is that you should, while you are reading the questions, try to predict the correct answer before you read the text. Predict the correct answer because it will help you to find the answer quicker. Now, before deciding on your answer, always go back and carefully read the questions before you make your final decision so you don't do the wrong thing. I wrote IELTS in December 2008 and I had to write the IELTS Academic UKVI. At that point, I really knew next to nothing about IELTS. All I knew was that I either write just the normal academic or I write the UKVI. Now, the normal academic was 75,000, then UKVI was 97,000. I understood that by the time I write the normal academic, which was easier, I will write UKVI again for my visa. So many people don't go for UKVI. I took the option of writing UKVI, not because I trusted myself that I know so much English, but because I wanted to use one stone to kill two birds. So I went ahead and registered for UKVI without knowing much about it. Remember, at this point, there was no real agency, no agency that was like guiding me or telling me what to do. I was working. Worst of all, I was in the maternity ward. Worst of all, I was in the labor room. Now, being very busy as the local hospital where I was working was at that point, I didn't have any holiday to study. I requested for some days off. Just change my days off to these days where I think I'll be able to study. And the person in charge refused to do it. So I was left with reading in between labor. Yes. While the women are in there screaming in pain and I've done my bit, sitting down, of course, we monitor so many things. There is still time in between where at least the nurse is able to sit down and watch what is happening with the woman. You're not going to put in your hands and pull out the baby, will you? So when I sit down, the little time I have, I can't use my earpiece because I need to listen to what the patient is saying. And I can't put my phone on loudspeaker. So you understand what I was going through. I had to study at night when I'm on night shift. In the daytime, I didn't have the time to do it because I was doing other things to make ends meet. I was left between the devil and the red blue sea, the deep blue sea, actually. This is IELTS. Being that I was a struggling nurse, which is like over 80% of every Nigerian nurse because of our salary scale and everything, if I fail this exam, it means I was going to cough out another 97,000. Now, I didn't have time to study. So the little time I had in between, I put in my best. And then I had to pay a tutor to come all the way from Lafia to come and teach me in Kuje. I paid for 1 week and she was supposed to teach me. That 1 week I was on night shift. So I thought that from night, I would go for my lesson, then come back to night. Unfortunately, her baby took ill and she taught me twice and had to go back. Of course, there's no refund. So I was left to study on my own. I'm telling you this story to help you, not because I love to talk. Of course I love to talk, but that's not the main reason behind this story. Many of us are so lucky now to write just the normal academic. UKVI was tough. If there's anyone that has attempted UKVI, I didn't know because I've not written it before. So I didn't know which was which. I went for UKVI, and when I sat down to have a look at the questions of UKVI and the questions of normal academic, I discovered that UKVI was a tough exam. But I was able to pass because number one, I was determined. Number two, I worked with the little time I had. And number three, I prayed. You can't do without those three things. If you are in Nigeria currently, you know that there's no time for everything. Before you know it is night. You are working, especially if you are even working full time. Oh my God. And if you have a family, oh goodness, that makes it worse. You need to study and you need to stop postponing. Many of you have been taking IELTS classes for months upon months. There were people that were taking IELTS classes the time I took IELTS classes, but till tomorrow, they have not registered. I was in contact with one recently and she told me next year again. So what am I saying? If you keep coming and coming and coming, you're studying, at some point you become so afraid of the exam itself. Yes. So please, you need to make up your mind to do this exam once and for all. Part of your tip is serious studying. You need to read more carefully and you need to read in a very quiet environment where you can concentrate. If you are doing IELTS study and you don't have like an environment that is conducive, if you are distracted with childcare, you're distracted with work, you're distracted here and there, I tell you the truth, it's going to be really difficult for you because there are so many distractors in the exam itself already. All right, your examiner is there, has put in some band descriptors to distractors to kind of distract you. Some very similar things that you think they are the answers, meanwhile they are wrong. There's always an adjective before or after that makes those options wrong. So if you just go for those options that are like jumping at you because the keywords are there in your text, you are most likely to get it wrong. And when you get it wrong, you will have a reduced band that is not going to make, up to what you need, and you have to write the exam again. And before you know it, you're writing once, you're writing twice, you're writing thrice, and then you keep going on and on until you make it. So you need to be determined and you need to study. Finally, okay, not finally, one more tip that will help you in your MCQ is that you will find that these answers, okay, they will come in the same order as your text. The answers will come in the same order as your text. What do I mean? When you find the answer to number 2 in maybe paragraph 1, line 2, sentence 2, please don't go back to sentence 1 again for you to look for the answer to number 3. Keep going on and on, all right? That's the way MCQs appear. And then you might be asked questions about facts, about opinions. You need to verify, you need to be sure which is which, so that when a question is about fact, you're not going to be making an opinion. You're not going to be like suggesting or just, because when they ask you factual questions, they will put opinion options there. So if you don't know which is which, you're going to choose the wrong choice. Before deciding on your answer, go back again and carefully read the question before you make your final decision. Is that okay? Strategy. You need to read very carefully. Read very carefully. Please skim through the whole text. Please. Don't do, I read first line, second line, then last 2 lines. No, last 2 sentences. No, don't do that for multiple choice question. There are some question types that you can do that for, and we will get to that. You underline any keywords that you find in your text so that you can easily identify them. Taking specific note of numbers, percentages, nouns, okay, names of people, or like suggestions, proportions by people. You need to take note of those things. All right. Predict the correct answer before you ever go to look for it. That way you are able to locate it quicker. You read the text again using the keywords and then their synonyms. The keywords that you have underlined, be on the lookout for their synonyms because you are most likely not going to find the exact same word in your text. Read the part of the text again where you have located very carefully. You think about the difference in meaning, all right, and compare the answer, making sure that you check why the other options are wrong, not just why the one you have chosen is correct. Think about not only the options you're choosing. That's what I mean. Think about the other options and what makes them wrong. Then go back again and read the questions, mark your final answer. That is that about MCQ. Remember to read the questions before you go to read the text, because when you read the questions first, it gives you a focus as to what you look out for in your text. Read everything about the sentence. Do not jump any sentence, because MCQ is expecting you to have an idea of the whole paragraph, of the whole text. They are expecting you to have an idea of a general knowledge, a general knowledge of the text. Is that okay? Do we have any question about MCQ? No question. Is it well understood? Because when you don't have a question, it's either you understood it so well and you don't have a question, or you are confused and you don't know what to ask. So which one? Okay, Amaka, go ahead. You can unmute yourself now.
Thank you, Ma. The question I want to ask as regards the fact and the opinion, how do you, because when you were talking and trying to explain, I was trying to imagine. So I was trying. I'm getting a better understanding of how to differentiate between fact and opinion. The facts, does it has, okay, let me say opinion, does it has to do with what the writer thinks, and how do we differentiate what the writer thinks? What are the words we may likely see that what writer thinks, maybe with the way he paraphrases or the way he says it, and then fact. Okay, I learned that fact has to do with numbers and name. So because that true or false, I'll say that maybe out of three, I'll get one is true, one is false. The answer not given, I get confused and all that. So I don't know, man. I even tried it to do the same thing.
When you have options of that has to do with facts and opinions in a multiple choice question, for instance, or anywhere at all, if you're the one you're talking about, the writer this, the writer that has to do with you, like topic identification, we'll get to that. When, for instance, let me give you an example. I have performed poorly. What I know is I've gone into an exam hall and I've written the exam. I didn't answer all the questions, okay? And the fact is, if you don't answer all the questions and you don't get them correct, you are going to fail. That's the fact. That's the truth about that exam. But someone else may have an opinion and say, oh, you are not going to fail, and may have, some statements to back up that his or her opinion, like thinking that, okay, so what if everybody fails, for instance, and they now raise everyone with certain number, maybe they now decide to add mark across board and you pass. So I'm going to pass because it was a difficult exam, and then everyone is eventually going to fail the exam. So I'm not going to fail it because they need someone to pass. That is that person's opinion about that exam. So fact has to do with the truth. An opinion has to do with somebody's own suggestion, somebody's own thinking, all right? Somebody's own decision. It's not the fact. Now, the fact is that if, as an NMC pin holder, anyone makes a mistake, they will say the NMC will withdraw their pin. They will suspend the person, withdraw the pin. But there could be an opinion of saying that it depends on the magnitude of the offense. The NMC is going to look at it and maybe have mercy because of that person's behavior in the past. But you are not sure about the opinion, okay? For us Christians, sometimes the fact that you are having maybe polycystic ovaries, okay, it will prevent someone from getting pregnant. It can be a cause of infertility. Low sperm count can be a cause of infertility. It's a fact. Is it not a fact? But in my opinion, I believe that despite medical reports, there's nothing God cannot do. Everybody may not believe it. That is not the fact. The fact is that you can't get pregnant with all of these issues. But my opinion is that I am going to get pregnant with all of that issues because I believe that something can be done. Maybe I can do a surgery. Maybe God can answer prayers. Maybe I can do an IVF. Maybe. There are many options. So that is why the opinion has to do with different suggestions. That is opinion. Fact has to do with the truth about the situation. Do you understand? You have a question asking you to write about owning cars, the hazards of owning a car. We have all seen that when too many people own cars, all right, the environment is polluted. There is increase in traffic jam, isn't it? There's gridlock, okay? And then there is this strata thing in the community that if you don't own a car, you don't belong to this community because almost everybody now owns a car in this community. And there is what they call inferiority complex for people that develop low self-esteem, okay? This is a writing task I'm talking about now. Now, they're asking you, this is what they have said, that is a fact. The fact is, it is hazardous for too many people to own a car in the environment. That is the fact. But now they will tell you to discuss your opinion about this. Your opinion is either you say, yes, this is what is going to happen, or no. It is your opinion. But the fact still remains that this and this and this is so. So when you have this in your MCQ, all right, what happens is the whole of the statement, the whole of the write-up may be about facts. The fact that Britain colonized Nigeria, the fact that Ghanaians were sent away from Nigeria in the early 90s, the fact that Nigeria economy is going down, the fact that Buhari is the president of Nigeria. Now, in your options, they will now come and give you options that are suggestive of those facts being opinions instead of facts, of those points being opinions instead of facts. And that thing comes out more in true, false, not given. When you find this in true, false, not given, you will have problem with answering them if you have not been able to identify whether they are asking you about facts or they're asking you about opinions. Joy, according to this write-up now, for instance, is a mother of 3 children. I have a girl and 2 boys. I am an IELTS tutor and I am a nurse currently working with the NHS. Now, they will bring, that is the story, that is the whole write-up. For your options A, B, C, D, 9, if it's a multiple choice question, I'm just trying to create the scenarios in my head. They will ask you questions like, from the passage, the occupation, from the passage, the story of Joy shows that she is A mathematics teacher, B, she is a teacher, okay, A. Then B, Joy has 3 kids. Or Joy, okay, let's say I didn't mention the sex of my children. I have 3 children. Joy has a girl and 2 boys. Then C, Joy has children. And D, for instance, Joy works with the NHS hospital. Which of these options is the fact according to this passage? The only fact there is the fact that I work with the NHS. I am a teacher. It's an opinion. They didn't state the subject that I'm teaching, but in the passage, it has stated that Joy teaches IELTS. So it's not the correct option. It's nearest, but it's not correct. I am a nurse. They didn't mention that. They said I work in the hospital, yes. But the option of working with the NHS is the one that is correct because that is the fact there. So you need to identify which option, what the passage is about, whether it is about facts or it is about opinions. You need to identify that. If you are not able to identify that, you are going to have options that are close to your answer, and you will choose that to be the correct answer. Meanwhile, it is not, because there's always something before or after that makes it wrong. Okay? If you are looking for word, if you are looking for exact same word, for instance, and you are not careful to read, you will see an option in the midst of this story that will say, Joy is a nurse who works with the NHS and teaches in IELTS. However, she does not have children. If you are not careful, that however has the children, it has spoiled the whole thing. But if you just started reading and you say, oh, that's the option, you have chosen, those answers, they are jumping at you as you are just opening it, the thing is looking at you like this. Meanwhile, what has happened? However, and the children there has spoiled it, isn't it? So you need to be very careful when you see MCQ questions. Does it make sense to anybody? It makes sense, yeah? Okay. Doris, Ugu, and Jessica, I don't know why your videos are going and coming. If you can't have them on, please just join the YouTube class so we don't have distractions here and there, okay? Any other question about MCQ? Other than that, when you see MCQ, let me tell you a secret. Don't look for the exact same word, synonyms. That's the reason why, while you're reading, you know some words in your reading passage, they write them in italics. Be suspecting those words too. Those words that they write in italics, those numbers that you see, when you see numbers, circle it with your pencil. There's no penalty for you doing that. They're not going to use them. They trash those question papers. They trash them. They may have similar passages later, but see, they've got too many questions. Now, circle those vocabularies, those things that you see, then think about, circle those keywords, then think about the options that can fit in those places. See, if you practice enough, this thing will be happening to you. You don't even know, you don't need to think about it. There are some spontaneous actions that we carry out without knowing. This happens with practice. That's why you need to practice. Okay? That's why you need to practice. After this class, I'm going to send in 2 reading passages that I've downloaded. I'll send them 2 reading tests. I'll send them to the Telegram group. Go there, download it, answer it. If you are doing passage 1, write that you're doing test 4 or test 3 or test 2. Test 2, these are the answers. Test 1, these are the answers. Then we will mark them and see how far you can do. At the end of the day, please identify which type of question you have problem in so that you can concentrate more on doing those kind of questions. Go to the internet, type in IELTS reading, academic reading, type of question in brackets. See, they will pop up. You will see IELTS Leeds, you will see Matty, you will see different options, you will see British Council. Click on them. Make use of your phones. Make use of your internet. For those of you that have free internet at night or those megabytes that you can only use at night, okay, go ahead and download those things on your phone, on your system. Download them and practice. Without practice, IELTS is not magic, it's practice. So look out for vocabularies for those keywords that you circle, those numbers. For instance, if you see 25 in a passage, don't look for 25 in your answer, okay? Or if you see 25 in your question, don't look for 25. Be looking for what? 1/4. About a quarter. Do you understand? 1/4 is the same thing as 25%. Okay? A quarter is the same thing as 25%. Okay? A fourth portion of is the same thing as 25%. So you just need to like look for these things in your head. If you have 50%, okay, it's half. Half of the population. They say 50% of the population. Look for half of the people, half of the general population, half of the populace. Look for those words. They are the things that nobody will come and give you this. It will be too easy now. If they do it like that, will it not be too easy? Are we in primary school? So they are trying to make you think. That's exactly what IELTS is doing. Because you're coming to write report, you're coming to have MDT meetings, you're coming to talk with relatives, you're coming to speak with the patient, you're coming to talk with your colleagues, and you must make use of these things. Okay? Any other thing on MCQ we need to move? So that's that with MCQ. All right? The next topic we will be talking about is matching heading. In IELTS reading test, you'll be asked to match headings to sections of a text. All right? This type of question is actually testing your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. MCQ, the whole text. Matching heading, paragraph. Because it is the paragraph that you are going to give what? Topics. It is the paragraph that you are going to give what? Headings. It is the paragraph that you are going to do what? Give a name. Let's cite an example with what we do in this class. In this class, we have discussed that your writing task 2, we have how many paragraphs? Who will tell me? How many paragraphs in writing task 2? You can signal with your hand if it's 5, if it's 3, if it's 2. Signal, let me hear. Amaka, how many paragraphs? Writing task 2. Amaka.
Introduction to body paragraph.
How many paragraphs do we have in writing task 2?
We have introduction.
How many paragraphs do we have in writing task 2?
2 body paragraphs, ma'am.
How many paragraphs do we have in writing task 2? There are 4 paragraphs in writing task 2. This is a question I just asked you. Instruction. Instruction, darling. How many paragraphs do we have in writing task 2? 4 paragraphs. I didn't ask you for an explanation, did I? Did I? I didn't ask you for an explanation.
No.
This is speaking test. How many paragraphs do we have in writing task 2? There are 4 paragraphs in writing task 2. Okay, can you name them? Then you can tell me introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. See, instruction, no. Instruction, listen to instruction, okay? So, I've given you have done a write-up, and it's writing task 2, and there are 4 paragraphs. Now, I've given it back to you as your topic for you to match the headings. You have an introduction where you have explained what you are going to be doing. Remember, introduction, general statement, specific statement, general statement, paraphrase of your question prompt, specific statement, your assignment, giving you an introduction. So that first paragraph, what is the topic? What is the heading? Introduction. Simple. In your first body paragraph, you have your reasons, okay? Now, I have said that teachers will, in no time, go into extinct because of the use of computer, all right? And you have given me an introduction that, of course, many people are of the opinion that teachers will go into extinct because of the use of computer. In this essay, I will be discussing my opinion. That's your introduction. Then in your body paragraph 1, you are telling me the reasons. Remember, I told you that whether you're supporting or you're not. you need to start, attack the question. It is a known fact that computers are in use or technological improvement has gone beyond what it was in the past. For instance, in recent time, students now study online, okay, especially with the advent of our dear COVID-19, where teachers no longer present themselves in the classroom, where social distancing has been enforced and people now keep, like 2 meters different gap between themselves. People are no longer encouraged to enter the classroom to study. And so the computers, these computer devices, okay, the phones, laptops, desktops have now become our new tutor as per what is happening it's now the order of the day. You are giving me a reason in your first body paragraph. So this is one of the reasons why, because of social distancing, because of the fact that it is available to many people, people can now study. It is true that people now study from their homes. Okay, there's now distant learning where the students don't need to come to the classroom anymore. So teachers will eventually go into extinction of it. True, there will be no need for teachers in the nearest future. What will be the topic of that paragraph? Supporting points, because this is the point that are supporting your answer. So if I ask you to list it, to give these 4 paragraphs a heading, all right, each of them, you are going to tell me supporting point for your first body paragraph. All right. If you go down, remember I told you that if it's an opinion essay, you need to give me a concession. What is a concession? A concession is a point against your own point with one of your strong points. That way, you tell me that you know what you're doing. That despite the fact that you are saying that teachers will go into instinct, it does not mean that you don't have any reason against that. So you now tell me that maybe in your concession, you're talking about the teacher's experience, okay? Teachers giving us examples with their own experiences and all of that, citing instances. So you are now telling me that point, and then you give me one more point that is yours, still supporting your point. What do you do? What will be the topic of that paragraph? A concession. Concession against my point. It will be the topic. Then when you go down, you say in conclusion, although teachers teach with experience, however, with the developmental, with the different development in the community, and with the fact that the world has gone global and everyone has to move, computers are now being used more in education than physically going to the classrooms. So I am of the opinion that if this continues, in the nearest future, there will be no need for the teachers. So what is that paragraph called? Conclusion. So the idea of the paragraph itself, okay, is what matching heading is expecting you to know. Now, the idea of the whole write-up, talking about teachers and computer use, is what MCQ is expecting you to understand. So give it a name, give it a topic, give it a tag. What a paragraph is saying, that is what matching heading is about, while multiple choice question is talking about what the whole write-up is about. Did I confuse anyone? Vivian, the way you are turning your head, it's like you don't understand me. Okay, go ahead, Jessica. What's your question?
Okay. Good evening, ma. Hello. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Can you raise your voice a bit, please?
Okay. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. You're welcome to the class.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma, for your class. My question is concerning the introduction. So I want to know if I am supposed to state my point initially at the introductory part, or I'm supposed to state my...
Okay. Or you are supposed to do what?
If I'm supposed to state my point like the reason why I'm supporting computers, for example. Am I supposed to give just as in state those reasons at the introductory part, or I should not bother to, I should just go ahead and say my opinion is I do not support teachers or something and go into the body and start giving my reasons?
Please, those two things are correct. If you go ahead and state your point, nobody will penalize you. If you don't state your point and just say that this essay will discuss your opinion, you are correct. For time's sake, for understanding sake, I advise people in this class to go ahead and just state that this essay will discuss your opinion with
Okay, ma.
reasons, giving relevant examples.
Okay, ma.
This is because in stating your point, sometimes in the course of writing is when the ideas are coming. If you have stated your point already, you may explain a different thing from what you have written in your introduction. In IELTS exam, you are not permitted to scatter your work. So you can't bring back your introduction and say, oh, this introduction is not for this explanation. Let me cancel it and go and write a different introduction. Except if you are writing with a pencil and you will have to erase it and write again. To be safest, tutors encourage you, the candidate, to please just go ahead and write, this essay will discuss my opinion, giving relevant examples. Please. Because sometimes in the English you will use to put all those things together, the grammar, at the end of the day, you will make mistake in your introduction. And remember that first impression matters. Your introduction is the first thing, isn't it? Yes. So if you mess up from your introduction, your examiner will say this one is not serious. Some examiners may not be patient enough to read line by line what you have written. For instance, me, Joy, I'm not a very patient examiner. I like you to give me, go straight to the point. I mean, stop wasting my time. Tell me what you know. Let's know whether you know it or you don't know it. That's the way I am. Okay? So, if you write that in your introduction, you have done me a specific statement and a general statement together. Your general statement will tell me, your examiner, that you understand the question. Remember, you have used synonyms and all of that. I now know that you are very rich upstairs. You've got good vocabularies to give me, relevant vocabularies, and you understand what you're doing. Now, this essay will discuss your opinion. I leave it and I go and look for what your opinion is. I just go straight to the point and then check your first body paragraph to see whether you're supporting or against. Sometimes they read the introduction and go to the conclusion, because the conclusion is where you summarize your opinion that you have said in the beginning and your concession is there. Remember that you're concluding saying that although teachers are relevant because they teach with examples, but with the recent happenings, many things have gone wrong in such a way that teaching is now majorly done online. People want to, study at their own time, and they have access to these materials anytime, not just calling a teacher to give them, assignments and all of that. So by the time you have given me those 3 things or 4 points, I now know that you are actually against the fact that you are for the fact that teachers will go into extinct of a truth. Yeah. But if in your conclusion, you have told me that although with the recent happening in the world is gone global and many people are going, but people in rural area will not be able to have access to these computers. It places them in a disadvantaged condition. In many places, there's no electricity to power these devices, thus they are not able to learn with it. Therefore, you are of the opinion that teachers will still continue to be used by students. Now I know that you are against that point. So when I read your introduction as your teacher, I know where you are going to. I go to your introduction and look for what you have discussed in your first body paragraph and your second body paragraph, because your conclusion is a summary of your points. We're not discussing writing tasks today. You're just lucky that I cited that as an example. So going by that, in a writing task which you are using as an example in this class, you have to give it topics, and that is what matching heading is expecting you to do. Give it topics, that is all. The headings are very short sentences that summarizes the information in a paragraph, and so you have to pick one. You will usually have more headings that you need than you need, okay? So when you have not finished reading all the headings, please don't panic, all right? Sometimes as well, you have headings that are very similar. You need to be careful with words like but, however. Those words can change the meaning of a whole sentence. So if your heading is similar, if you've got 2-3 headings that are similar, please bring them side by side with the paragraph. Check the reasons why one of them is wrong, or 2 of them are wrong and 1 of them is correct. Is that okay?
Okay, ma. Thank you very much,
Is that
ma.
okay? Okay.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Let's see. Moving forward, there are so many problems that people can face. So many, common problems that people see in this kind of task, in this kind of question type. That's the matching heading. Number one is the fact that there's too much information. Remember that in matching heading, you have to read everything. You're reading to understand the whole topic, all right, of that particular paragraph. So there's too much information and you are bound by time. So you need to get some tips for you to quickly do this and get the correct one. As much as possible, please do not match words for word. Don't look for exact same word. People try to match a word or words from the headings to a word in the text. If you do that, you will be doing the wrong thing, because your examiner is very wise. They're not going to give you exact same word. They're expecting you to use paraphrases and synonyms, and that's what they themselves will use in your answer options. Some of the headings will appear to be similar. They may appear to have the same meaning, but there's a phrase, there's a word, there's an adjective, a qualifying word that has made it different. So you need to bring it side by side, like I explained, with the paragraph so you can choose the correct option, all right? Sometimes we spend too much time on one paragraph. You spend too much time on one paragraph or on one particular heading. If you don't understand what it is, go ahead first, match the other ones. You've got less time, more time, then you can now come back to those. Remember, I told you from the beginning that you don't leave blank spaces, but don't spend too much time on one. Unfortunately, for this kind of questions, the answers are not in the same order as the text like it is for the multiple choice question. So you need to keep going over and over to get the idea that is there. How do you now solve this kind of question? Please, when you see a matching heading, go ahead, do it first. You know why? Because matching heading entails you taking a more detailed look at the passage. It helps you to answer the other questions that are coming behind. So do it first. By doing this, you'll be able to get the general meaning of the text as a whole, and then it will help you with the rest of the questions that requires you to take, even a more detailed look at the whole paragraph. You are not expected to read every word here, but you need to know what the idea is talking about. You need to, like I was explaining, that in multiple choice, okay, in multiple choice, you need to read every line, every sentence in multiple choice. But in this one, usually, because you are looking for the main idea of the text, please, you can read the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences. They usually will carry the main idea of the paragraph. If there are words that you don't understand, don't worry about them, okay? Because, it's the general meaning of the text that you're looking at. You're not looking at the meaning of a particular word in that paragraph. Please be aware that your examiners will be using synonyms. Many people will be looking for exact same word. I've said it over and over again. Don't look for exact same word because you won't find them. And when you find them, they are usually positioned in a way that they will be wrong, either with the preface, whatever is coming before them, or whatever is coming after them. For instance, when you have a paragraph that is talking, where you have words like beautiful, All right, you have words like beautiful. Be looking for words like maybe stunning, like pretty, like attractive. Words like what is it? Like lovely in place of beautiful. So use these words interchangeably with themselves. If there are 2 or 3 headings that are similar, I've told you what to do. Bring them side by side with the particular paragraph you are looking for the heading and compare, then contrast and make your choice. If you can't still decide, move ahead and go for the other questions. Come back to it and then you can do it again. Now, ignore anything that you already know about this topic because you are only being tested on the text that you have. You are being tested on the text that you have at the moment, not the whole knowledge about that thing that is not written there. If you have anything, excuse me, that is not written in there, it's probably not there because you don't need it. All right. Okay, don't read too quickly. In as much as you're trying to beat time, don't read too quickly. Read with an understanding. Please don't panic if you don't know anything about the general topic. They are just, if you don't know anything about the topic as a whole, they are just asking you reading questions based on that topic. For instance, you see like maybe Chinese, their history, talking about Chinese history. We know nothing about it, but there are some specific things in there that is what they are looking for. All right. Don't look at the heading first. I told you in matching heading, look at the questions first. But in this one, don't look at the headings first. They'll give you headings, options for you to choose from. Don't look at it first. Because if you look at it, it will confuse you. Read through the passages. As you are reading through, you will be able to identify in your own head. You will see what is the likely heading, all right, for this topic. For what is the likely topic for this paragraph. That way, in your mind, you already have a premonition of what it should look like, so that when you now see something similar, you will know that this is the correct option and you can choose that one. All right. Sorry. Ooh, let's see. So with all of this explanation, our strategy today will be for you to do this kind of questions first. All right, do these questions first. Please don't look at the headings first. Read the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences of your paragraph. There will carry the main idea of the passage, of the whole paragraph. Look at the headings and identify keywords within each of the headings. That way you'll be able to locate these synonyms, all right, in the paragraph. Okay, if you still can't pick an answer, please move on. Keep doing this, then come back to it before you finally submit your papers. Any question on matching heading? No question. It means the class is well understood. Or it means you are confused. So which of the 2? Which of the 2?
You understand, ma?
Understood.
Yes, ma.
Good. The next one is matching information. Both of them are similar, so I usually do them together. Matching information. Here, you match statements to paragraphs in the reading text. You match statements to paragraphs in the reading text. Using our writing that we did as an example. You have written 4 paragraphs. In paragraph 1, you have stated that, in quote, you will be discussing your opinion. In matching information, you will have an option for that particular paragraph. Okay, the statement in that paragraph is talking about you discussing your opinion. If it was for matching heading, it is an introduction. But here you are discussing your opinion. The statement could be the reasons, it could be maybe a description, it could be summary, it could be a definition of something, it could be a fact, it could be an explanation, it could be an opinion. Really, whatever they are, it does not matter. What matters is that you are expected not to have a specialist knowledge of that particular one. So you are just expected to know what this person is saying. For instance, if we have a passage where there are 4 paragraphs and Victor, Joy, Isaac, and Glory have made statements, each of us, in those 4 paragraphs. Then we pick one of our statements as an option and expect you to go and locate where that person made that statement. In paragraph 3 of the writing task that we just used as an example, I, in my opinion, have stated that people will not everybody will have access to computers for education or for learning because it's expensive. Now, the statements, the options that you have, the statements that we write for you to go and match with that paragraph, will say something like, it is costly or it costs more money to learn with computer devices. Or it costs more money to study online. That's not the exact thing that I said, is it? But that is the idea of what I have said. That is my opinion. So in that case, it is an opinion. They will now ask you to identify which paragraph this statement was made. So in matching information, you are expected to match statements to paragraphs in the reading text. That is all. What you need to do in this type of question is for you to go ahead, do it last. Do matching information first, do matching heading first, do matching information last. They are opposite of each other. Do matching heading, their tips is similar, but here you're matching, you are giving it a topic, and here you're taking out something from it to say this is what this person said. That's where you have people that have one opinion or the other. They've stated something, maybe they've done a research, this person has made this conclusion, this person suggested that one, and then they'll write their names, or they may not write their names, they may just write whatever they have said and expect you to say whether it is in paragraph A or paragraph B or paragraph I or paragraph II. When you see this kind of question, this passage, please take note of names, take note of places, take note of numbers. All right? If, for instance, I have said while I was making my point that about 34%, maybe in that about 34% of individuals have access to computers for learning, for instance. In the options, you may find them saying about over a third of the population. So here, 34% is over a third, or it's about a third of 100%. So you need to be very, very careful in your use of synonyms in paraphrases. You find names, be aware that there are synonyms. All right? So, read the instructions very carefully. This is where people fail. Instructions. Read the questions first before you go and look for the options. You go and read the passage. Read the questions first of all, like you would do in your MCQ. Skim through the text to understand the general meaning. Then read the question statement again to predict your answer. Scan the particular paragraph for what you're looking for. Please be on the lookout for synonyms. Synonyms rather than exact same word. Okay? That is that for matching information. Do we have any question? Matching information. Any question on matching information? Yes, please, Miriam. Rosemary, you can unmute now.
My question is in this matching of information. I want to get it. Does it mean we have to read all the paragraphs to be able to answer the question? The paragraphs used to look so scary.
You don't read the whole. You didn't get my tip from the beginning. You don't read the whole paragraph. You just need to have an idea. That's for matching information. Matching heading. In matching information, you read the whole paragraph. Remember, you are doing it last. So this means that you have done other questions about that topic, about that paragraph. So I mean that passage. So it's like you have been reading this passage over and over again. Were you here in the last class that we did, where we did a reading test? Remember that the first passage that we had like 2 different types of questions or 3 for that particular passage, isn't it? So that same passage, remember that there are other questions that you would have answered. For instance, if you have matching heading coming from that passage, you have taken your time to do matching heading in that same passage. So you are now having an understanding of that passage. And that's the reason why you should do it last, because when you are coming to answer this kind of question last, you have read this thing over and over again in the course of answering the other questions attached to it.
Okay.
That's what will give you a better understanding. So take note of this. Do it last. That way you have an understanding of what the text is about before you even answer this question. Because in the time you have spent answering the other questions from this passage has given you a clarity as to what the passage is about. Do you understand?
Okay, yes.
At this point is where you are looking for specific information in this paragraph. So yes, do it last. Okay. And yes, read everything.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? True, false, not given. Yes, no, not given. That's the one I'm going to know. Okay? True, false, not given. Yes, no, not given. The true, false, not given questions are asking you to identify if an information in the text is true or not true. Here, you will have a number of factual statements. It's about facts. True, false, not given is about facts. Okay? True, false, not given is about facts. So, if the text agrees with, or confirms what you're saying, what they are saying, the answer is true. Okay? If it confirms the statement, the answer is true. If it contradicts, direct opposite, or it is not in line, then the answer is false. If there is no information at all about it, or it is impossible for you to know, then the answer is not given. Listen to this short story. Let's see whether we can answer true, false, not given. If it is true, it means that it is in line. It means that it agrees with the statement. It means that it confirms the statement. All right? If it contradicts, it is the opposite. If it contradicts, if it is the opposite, then it is false. If it is impossible for you to know, okay, it's impossible, you can't know, or it is not stated at all in that place, there's no information about it, then it is not given. It is not given when there is no information. It is false when it is the opposite or it contradicts. And it is true when it agrees with or confirms the statement. Are we clear on this? True, false, not given is about facts. It is either true or not true, which is false, or it's not there at all, which is not given. Or you can't tell because it's not given. Okay, so I'll still use this one. Let me see if I can cite this example. Joy is a registered nurse in Nigeria, a registered midwife in Nigeria, and a registered nurse in the United Kingdom. She is a mother of 3 children who are all teenagers. She is Nigerian by birth. And she teaches English language. From the statement, Joy is a Nigerian. Is it true or false?
True.
True. True, right? From the statement, Joy has 2 boys and a girl.
Not given.
This one is too simple. Or you have heard it again and again, but you have heard this story before. I'm suspecting all of you. From the statement, Joy is a Nigerian and a British citizen.
Not given.
False. False. False.
I'll say it's not given.
False, because she's a Nigerian.
Not given. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hand. For not given. Not given. False. Let me see your hand.
False.
The answer is not given. Because there's no mention of British citizen there. It's not given. If I had said that Joy is not a Nigerian, then it is the opposite of that statement that I made. Opposite. But because I have said she's Nigerian and a British citizen, it means that British citizen was not mentioned. So it is not given and it is impossible for you to know. Okay? If I had said that Joy is not a teacher, then it is false, because they said she teaches what? English, meaning she is a teacher of English language. Simple logic. If it is mentioned there and it confirms what they are asking, then it is true. If it is not mentioned at all, is the opposite, then it is false. If it is impossible for you to know, then the answer is not given. It's the same thing for yes, no, not given. When you have yes, no, not given, please don't answer true, false, not given. You need to know whether the options is yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given. Yes, no, not given is majorly usually about opinions, suggestions of people. True, false, not given is about facts. When you have yes, no, not given in your exam, there is all the options there as an answer. So when you have finished answering and all your options are yes, 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 you are wrong in some places. When all your options are no, 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 you are wrong in some places. When all your questions, your answers are yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, you are wrong. It must carry the three elements. There is always a yes, there's always a no, there's always a not given. That's one tip that you should know. The not given option and the false options, they usually contradict. The yes option or the true option is very, very easy for you to identify because it's either there or not there. For it to be yes, it must be there. For it to be no, it must not be there at all. It must be the opposite of what was mentioned. All right? It must be the opposite of what is there. For it to be not given, then you can't find it there. They didn't say it, and so you can't know whether it is so. I told you that there are 3 children, but I never said I didn't mention their sexes. I never said whether it's a boy or girl or whatever. So you see, many of us have this, what do I say? We are looking for, once the answer is there small, we say, Shebi, they mentioned it now, it's there. No, it's like this. If you do that, you will fail it. So you need to know whether it is there or it is not there. And please, don't try to look for it too much, you hear? If you are looking for the answer over and over and it's like it's confused, please just take the not given option because you can't find it probably because it's not there. If it is there, yes, you will find it. If it is not there, yes, you will know. The not given option is usually difficult because you are trying to be logical in your head. You are saying, but they've mentioned that she's Nigerian. Okay, but she's, okay, maybe. No, once it is not there, it is not there. Please take not given. It's probably not there, and you are probably not finding the answer because it is not given. Do we understand? Let me share this screen. If I can, I hope I'm able to. Any question, please? Raise your questions. Question, please. If you have a question, sorry, I'm trying to see something on my screen. I can't see everybody. If you have a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, my question is as regards this given, not given, yes or no. I was reading an article on scientific discovery on a woman, how from childhood she loved science. But when you got to the question, the first paragraph was like that she won something. The first one was like with her husband and somebody else, she won a Nobel Prize. So they asked, did Maria Curie won a Nobel Prize with her husband? I knew that
Amaka, you're breaking up and I can barely hear you. So I don't know how the other people are going to hear you.
Okay, ma. I'll try maybe later.
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, I said I was saying ma.
Oh, can you type your question instead? Type it, send it to everybody. Because it's important that we answer you, but we can't hear you. Any other question? If your own network is okay, I'm trying to see if I can get something for us.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay,
Ibrahim.
my question about yes, no, not given is that are they always sequential?
They are not always sequential. They can come anywhere, darling.
Okay, thank you
You
very
can
much.
find it anywhere. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to send this reading passage. I'm going to send this reading test to the Telegram group now. Okay, so that we can download it and do it and send it. I think it's better that way because I can't seem to put them side by side, and you know, since it's page by page, it's not playing as per video. Although we've made arrangement, we'll be playing more videos for you people so that we can test you. But in the meantime, just do this one and send them in. If you're doing test one, if the answer is to test one, make sure you write it on it, send your answer, okay? And then we can do the marking and all of that. I'll do that after this class. Any other question? No other question. In this class today, we have explained the true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. And we say that this kind of questions require you to identify information if it is either true or not found in the passage or in your options. You'll be given a number of factual statements, and you have to check the text to see if they are true or not true. Now, if the statement agrees or confirms with the statement, if the text agrees with it, then it is correct, it is true. If not, it is no or false. And if there's no information at all or it's impossible for you to know, then the answer is what? Not given. We have also discussed multiple choice this afternoon. We talked about multiple choice and how you should read the questions first before going to read the text so that you are reading with a focus, all right? And how you should not leave any blank spaces in your multiple choice or anywhere at all in the reading text. We have discussed also your matching heading. Matching heading, you are asked to match headings to sections of a text, all right? Here is testing your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. They will give you more headings than you need, so don't panic when you've not used everything. Sometimes some headings can be similar. Don't worry, bring them side by side with each other and you'll be able to identify which one is the most correct, all right? Don't read too quickly, all right? You need to be very careful in your reading. Do your matching headings first and do your matching information last. Do your matching information last. Matching information as well, part of the tip for matching information is that you should take note of names and places, and be very, very much aware of the fact that they can use synonyms. Synonyms. Read the instructions carefully. Read the questions first for matching information. Read the instructions very well. Go ahead and answer. If you have any blank space, please go back to it and answer it. Make sure you don't leave any blank spaces in your test. Any question in this class today for everything that we've done?
I have a question, ma, but it's on listening.
Why?
Okay, ma'am. Ma, especially in the first section, there's usually some questions in which a number will have two different answers. Let's say the answer is rice and beans, but in the space they will write dash and dash. So how do you write it in the answer sheet? Do you write rice, comma, beans, or just write rice, beans? Because and is in the question already.
If and is in the question, put rice before the and, then put beans. Remember that your answer at the end of the day, you're talking about sentence completion, right? You
Yes,
must make sense grammatically. Your writing must make sense grammatically. If at the end of the day, your write-up does not make sense grammatically, then you're wrong somewhere. So if there's an and, there's dash, then they've written an and for you, and then dash. So you just go ahead, pick rice here on this side and pick beans on the other side.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
So you write rice, you write beans. Do you understand? Because they're expecting you to have two answers.
Yeah, I understand, ma'am.
That's good. Any other question, please? Amaka, the network is against you.
Okay, ma, can you hear me now?
It's a long question. When you okay, it can be quite confusing.
Yes, but yes,
now do you understand it now?
I want to ask. Yes, I do, ma, but I want to learn. I will ask you that maybe later. But I want to ask a question on writing, ma'am. I'm like tax one. I don't know what are the tricks that one can use to quickly analyze, because you have various kind of questions from the process that I don't have an issue, but when it has to do with some line graphs and how do you analyze quickly? What are those tricks that one can just, okay, highest, lowest? Because sometimes when I want to write my barossa, I say, okay, please.
Can you please go back? Can you please go back tonight and watch the videos on writing tax one? Meanwhile, writing tax one, the structure of the writing tax one, we have 3 paragraphs at the end of the day. The first paragraph is your overview, your overall statement. Then the 2 paragraphs, the remaining 2 paragraphs are your overview divided into 2. Now, this overview, the information that the overview contains is dependent on the kind of question that you have. For instance, when you have a line graph and there are 2 variables, you're talking about Nigeria and Britain, for instance. Nigeria, both of them, maybe you're comparing the number of people that study online in Nigeria and in Britain from the year 2010 to the year 2020. You want to see the increase and the decrease and the rest of them. You want to see if there were fluctuations at any point. You will want to see if it peaked for Nigeria at any point, what was the highest, if it plunged, okay, for Britain at any point, what was the lowest or something. So when you have a line graph, all right, you need to make use of the vocabularies that are related to the line graph. And then you need to group your data, and you need to separate this data so you know what comes into body paragraph 1 and the body paragraph 2. Don't mind the use of those words. There are 2 main paragraphs. We have an introduction, which is like the overall statement. Remember that your overall statement is derived from where? It's derived from your specific statement and your overall or your general statement. In your general statement, that's where you have what do I call it now? The keywords that you have identified, your keywords, you're now using the vocabularies, you are using the synonyms and all of that to state the statement. You have paraphrased the question that you have been given. Then you add an overall statement to it. Please do not separate your overall statement from your problem statement. Do not separate your overall statement from your general statement in your writing task 1. If you do that, you will end up having 4 paragraphs, and that is the structure of the writing task 2. At the end of the day, it becomes too bulky for your examiner to mark. You will have too many words, and that will reduce your marks for the structure, because your work, there's no flow. Remember that you have what we call the band descriptors. We have your task completion, you have your task completion and achievement, you have coherence and cohesion. So if you end up having 4 paragraphs for coherence and for cohesion, there's no flow between your work. At the end of the day, you score less mark and it reduces your overall band. So what am I saying? In your writing task 1, the information in your 2 paragraphs, that is your overview, is dependent on the question. Where you have a line graph and you have Nigeria, for instance, and Britain, please pick one of the paragraphs to discuss the changes that occur in Nigeria, the second paragraph to discuss the changes that occurred in Britain. Do you understand? That way, you have an introduction. In quote is your overall statement, and then you have Britain as one, and you have Nigeria as one. That way, you maintain your 3 paragraph structure for the writing task 1. In grouping your data, take note of what is highest occurring, lowest occurring, what maintained its size or its quantity or its number or whatever, all right? What is the same for both of them? Where did they have the same thing? At what point did it peak for one? And at what point did it plunge for the other one? All right? If it decreased, what was the lowest for one and what was the highest for that particular one? By the time you have about 6 of these points put together, putting in your vocabularies in between them, you join them together with your cohesive devices, you will be able to get a long enough paragraph. And if you have 2 of those paragraphs with your overall statement, you should have 160, 170 words for the head count of words in your writing task 1, Amaka. Now, if you have a process graph, for example, you've been given a process graph, I want you to identify a start point and a midpoint, all right? So if you have written the introduction, which is your overall statement, in your introduction, maybe there are 10 steps or there are 12 steps in the production of cocoa, for instance, of maybe, let's use that, of chocolate drink. There are 10 steps in the production of it. The graph given, the given diagram identifies the processes that are involved in the production or manufacturing of hot chocolate or hot chocolate drink. So you need to list that overall, there are 10 steps in the production. Now, if you have used production before, use manufacturing. So that you can use these words interchangeably. Remember to use synonyms, all right, to paraphrase. So you don't end up giving your examiner same word. That way they know you have a rich vocabulary to choose from and you score more marks. Okay, so those 10 steps, for instance, identify the middle point. You can take 5 and 5. Sometimes you can take 4 and 6, depending on how long the process, you can explain them. So if maybe at some point you need to get the cocoa from the farm, you need to wash, you need to do this, it goes through processes, it's all outlined in the diagram. Okay, so you identify which step am I going to add to explain in my paragraph 1, my body paragraph 1, and which step am I going to explain in my body paragraph 2. Okay, so in those 2 paragraphs, you have explained points 1 to 5 in one paragraph, and in the other one you have explained point 6 to 10 in that paragraph. That way there's nothing like conclusion. Remember, you're not concluding anything, you're just explaining. So your overall statement, your first paragraph, your second paragraph. Identify a middle point if you are writing on a process graph. If you are writing on a map, for example, you need to still identify a midpoint where you are going to stop. From this midpoint upwards is my first paragraph. From this midpoint downwards is my second paragraph. You need to take note of changes that has occurred over time. Remember, if you're doing a map, usually if you check, they will give you what we call, what's it called again? Tell me, remind me. What do we use for our north, south, east, and west? Compass. God bless you. The word just escaped.
Compass.
So you'll be given a compass. You'll be given a compass. So please identify what is located on the north, on the south, on the east, or on the west. Identify the changes that has occurred and explain them in accordance with the words that you are to use to describe these things. If you are discussing a map and you are not using north, south, east, and west, you are wrong. If you are using you are giving maybe a floor map, for instance, you can, if there is no compass given to you, you give yourself a compass. All right, you can say up, down, okay, upper part, below, left, right, okay, upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right, midpoint, the central point. Give it a name, give it a compass for yourself. You can do that with a map. You can do that with a floor map as well. All right, you can do that with what again? Those are the two. You need to do that for yourself. If you have, what other one do we have again? A pie chart, for example. Remember that a pie chart is 360, yeah? It's round for a pie chart. The use of percentages, don't forget to use percentages where you have a pie chart. Don't forget to use numbers where you have a pie chart. What do you identify in a pie chart? The variables that are the same for those, you know, like in a pie chart, for example, yeah, they'll give you like 2 pie charts or 1 pie chart. If they'll usually give you 2 pie charts, for example, and then they say this one, maybe electricity consumption was 15% here, and maybe gas was 10%, and they give you percentages and all of that for this country and for this country, or for this household and for the other household. You need to pick one of the household and discuss. You need to identify similarities between those two households. The things that they use that are the same, either the item is the same or the number, the quantity that they use is the same, or the percentage is the same. Whatever is the same, identify things that are the same, things that have increased, things that reduced over the years. Does it make sense?
Yes,
you have ended up making me to do writing tax 1 now.
Thank you, ma'am.
So it depends on what you are giving, but please make sure you have 3 paragraphs. If you are giving whatever of them, have a midpoint, use your compass if it is maps, remember percentages, remember the use of words like decrease, increase, decline, okay? Plunge, peaked, all right?
Yes,
reduced, the use of fluctuated where it was unstable. Remember the use of it maintaining like a stable whatever, all right? Remember the use of those phrases and the use of those vocabulary.
Yes,
they will help you. Okay? Any other question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Go ahead, Beauty.
Okay, ma'am. I did an assignment of one of the teachings you gave us, and you gave us an assignment. So I did it and submitted for like, it's almost a month now, and you promised to help Mark.
I have gone through all the mails I have. Today I was telling Mr. Tunde that I am now free from all of you because I have been able to do all the assignments. I've attended to them. It's either yours came in whatever and I've replied, I've responded that you should type it and send it. And if you had done that, I would have seen it, because I've not seen it, my dear. Just go back to the mail on your phone or your computer and resend it, and I'll see it by the next class. You should have your response if you send it today. Sorry about that. I didn't see it. Probably got mixed up in the middle of the other text mails. I don't know. Yes, Rosemary, what are you saying? Who else has a question? Our time is nearly up. Questions? No more questions. All right.
Sorry,
thank
ma,
you
I have
very
a
much.
question.
Oh dear. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, in tax 2, sorry, writing tax 2.
in discuss both view, where should we put our opinion? Is it the first paragraph or the second one, or at the conclusion?
If you go back to the video on writing task 2, that will be better. When is your exam?
On Saturday, 21st.
For the fact that your exam is next week, I'm just going to explain it, but you still need to go back to it. Discussion of both views and opinion. It says discuss both views and your opinion. So what are you supposed to do first? Discuss both views and your opinion. You need to discuss both views first before your opinion. You keep your opinion away from your introduction, from your body paragraph 1, from your body paragraph 2. You discuss your opinion in your conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else? Okay, so we have Mr. Tunde in the house. I'm sure he has some instructions or something to say to us. Good evening. You are welcome to our class.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening. I'll make this very brief. Last week? I think it was last week. We did a reading test, and Amaka, can you unmute? Can you unmute yourself? Let me see if you can all unmute yourself. Let's see. Yeah. So please, if you need to talk, please unmute yourself. Amaka and Ibrahim, can you please unmute yourself? So Amaka got the highest on the day, and can you remind us? Amaka, remind of you. Let's unmute yourself, Amaka, please. Oh, okay. Amaka, you need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Oh dear.
Amaka, it's you need to unmute. Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir.
Don't make it look like I have a very short patience fuse. I have a very patient person. Just for the so yeah, Amaka got the highest score.
Okay, sir.
What was your score, Amaka? Remind us.
27.
27.
Yes,
and
sir.
Amaka gladly gave her spot because she was the winner for the £100 prize towards the IELTS fees. But because Amaka had already registered, Amaka gladly offered to give her prize to the next person. And the next person on that day was Ibrahim Bello. Ibrahim, what was your score? Please remind us.
It was 25.
25. So I just want to say well done for participating. Ibrahim sent me his bank details. I want to send the £100 to Ibrahim today. I just need to remind Ibrahim that the money goes towards IELTS fees only. And that's what we're trying to do. And the reason we're doing this video is to see how we can make this an ongoing. We're speaking to some of our friends who possibly will be supporting us when they see this. So, Ibrahim, I'll need you to please check your phone. You will need to show us this when you see the money. I'm about to transfer the money now. Everyone here witnessed that hard work actually pays. Okay. So this is so can you check your phone and see? From my end, it's gone. And if you can see this. Ibrahim, can you please confirm when you see it?
Okay. Let me check now, sir.
Say again? And can you let us know how much it is in Naira? So the interesting part is Ibrahim is not as regular as many of you here during the classes. Is that opportunity comes, but we can only take the opportunity when we are ready. It's always good to be ready because it can come at any time. It's a very good what we're doing. If you study under Joy or under anybody, no matter how much you study, when you refuse to practice, you won't really know how the examination pressure will get to you. Amaka was saying that she got distracted. That's why she scored what she scored, even though she scored the highest. And Joy believes she could do better. So can you let us know if you've seen the money yet? I can't hear you, Brian. So my advice to all of you is to
share it if I can. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I said it's entered now. I'll just make a screenshot and share if I can.
Okay, let me help share screen. Let me allow you to share your screen.
He can. Oh, that's cool.
Okay. Can I share it on the Telegram page?
Yeah. Share it on the Telegram page. Yeah, share it on the Telegram page. I thought you might be able to show it on your phone. Here, can you show it on your phone? Oh yeah, you're using your phone.
I use the same phone.
So he can't show it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You can just put it on the Telegram.
How much is it in Naira?
How much is it in Naira? Yeah, that's be interesting to know.
56,073 Naira.
And how much is IELTS registration now, please?
75,000 Naira.
So you have less than 10,000 Naira to add to it and write your exam, right?
Yeah, about 19,000 now.
Okay, about 19,000.
Yes, ma'am.
So please, as much as possible, as quick as possible, you need to have that done. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, yes, practice as much as you can.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I actually sent some essays to you. You haven't?
Yes, I told you I will do that. I'm on night shift. I will do that by Monday.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Have you sent it to the Telegram group yet?
No.
Send it now. Send it now to the Telegram group.
Okay.
I should be able to share the screen of the Telegram group. So if you just
send
do
it
it now,
I'll
share it now, so we can all see. So that it doesn't look like audio.
Abio.
Yeah, I'm doing that right away.
Okay. So, yeah, others who participated, I'm still working on what we can do, if we can do anything. I'm not sure. I won't make any promises. But we'll see how things go.
Yep.
Again, I want to encourage all of you to keep up the hard work, and I pray God will crown your hard work with success. And before long, you will join us here, and you possibly join us to pay for someone else's IELTS who cannot afford it. Just waiting for Ibrahim to send it, and we can share the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a bit of delay. I'll do that now. Okay, so it's loading. I don't know why it's taking so long.
let me even ask Joy. Joy that got the highest.
Okay,
Joy,
I've
how
sent
do
it.
you know about it? Okay.
Amaka.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep calling
Yes,
Amaka.
ma'am. I'm Joy.
Sorry, oh. Every time I want to call you, I call you Amaka. I call you Joy. Okay, so this is
Yes.
Maybe it's her new name now.
well.
Yes.
How did you get to know about this £100 giveaway that we did?
Okay. I got the information on my WhatsApp.
Oh,
WhatsApp.
the WhatsApp.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Brian,
And I
how
also started
did you get to know?
Yeah, I got to know through the Telegram group. I've actually been on the Telegram group for a while, but I don't really follow the classes. But I was just lucky to
no.
open my Telegram
To
and
send the money.
saw the
Can we all see
notice.
the money coming?
No.
So we're all witness to the money transfer. It's not audio.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Talk and do, you know.
Talk and do.
But you know what I find interesting is, so you've been on the Telegram group for a while, and you saw that one. How many times have you attended the class ever? Was that the first time you attended?
I think that was the second time.
Second time.
That was the first time I was seeing him in my class.
So, ladies and gentlemen, some guy came from nowhere and got your prize. Which Amaka glad.
But the truth is that Amaka gave her place. So yes, someone who has been in the class attempted and got. So I'm not.
No. What I'm saying is, all thanks to Amaka. Your honesty is impeccable.
Yeah.
Well done, Amaka.
Thank you, sir.
That's us done. We hope to be able to keep this as an ongoing thing. But ultimately, please do the hard work. And those of you writing your exams this week or next week or soon, I pray that the Lord give you retentive memory. I pray that the Lord help you with the exam pressure. Yes. Because when pressure is a different ball game entirely, God will go before you and help you to prepare accordingly. God bless you.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir. What do you say?
Would you want to say something to Amaka?
Yeah, I've actually been willing to get our contacts for a while now.
No, don't get our contact. Just tell her.
Now you are here.
Tell her thank you. Yeah, don't get our contact.
Thank you very much.
Amaka, if you're single, you can get your contact.
Amaka is not single, no.
I don't know.
It's okay. I'm actually not single.
We're
also.
not doing matchmaking here. This is IELTS class. Thank you very much, sir. Ibrahim, what do you want to say to Amaka?
I'm just saying, say thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Amaka. My sincere appreciation. I'm very, very happy. Very. Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Tunde. Thank you, Mrs. Joy, and thank you, Amaka. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Okay, Lamodupe, you are welcome to your first time in this class. I'm sure you have registered. You will see more of what is happening. Keep an eye on the Telegram group. We do give out information. I mean, we send out notices and all of that when there are changes to our class. Other than that, our classes are Tuesdays and Saturdays. If there's any changes, I'll let you know. We send in assignments. The official email for this class is overseernurses@ielts@gmail.com. overseernurses@ielts@gmail.com. That's where you are expected to send in your work for vetting. And when you send in anything for vetting, we like to indulge your patience because I work and it's not all the time that I have free time to do all the vetting and give a feedback, but I definitely will. Participate in the class as much as possible. Be encouraged here. People are passing. Someone passed yesterday. She's a regular member in this class. She would have been here if she has not passed her exam. She was here when we did that whatever, despite that she had written her exam. So yes, please keep practicing on your own. I'm going to send you something to Telegram group before I go to work tonight. Do it and send it in there, please. We will do all the corrections together. If we don't do it today, if I don't do it immediately, we'll do it again when we come back to our next class. And yes, that is it. Thank you very much for today. Amaka, we are grateful. All the first timers, you are welcome. Ibrahim, I wish you all the best. Amaka, congratulations in advance. I wait to hear from you tomorrow. After service tomorrow, you will do your drilling. When I come back from work, I'll sleep. I'll give you time to go to work and then, to go to church, because we are on lockdown. There's no church service here for the time being. So when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to send you a message and then we can talk. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.